Welcome back to Spiral Island. We're so close to finish with this area, which sucks. I'm trying to think in my mind, like, why am I so disappointed with this? I think I've gone over it before, but it just feels so disappointing, this whole area. And the puzzles themselves aren't all bad. I need more. I'm trying to think, what's the closest to this I can experience? A game that is very large, has a lot of challenges, and has a big end game. Well, this doesn't have a big end game. This just has this area, the island over here, and then the red puzzles scattered about these areas here. Like, I'm thinking, okay, Super Mario Odyssey. I remember when that was a thing, and the fact there were a ton of moons in that game. If you know Super Mario Odyssey, you know, like, moons are the collectible, and there's 880 of them in the game, and lots of people thought that's way too many. And they're kind of right. But the saving grace for Super Mario Odyssey is that most of them you basically trip over. They're very, very simple. They're easy to get. They don't take very long. So you can, in fact, I did without looking up any sort of guide. I got all the moons in Super Mario Odyssey in less than 100 hours. Far less than 100. I don't know how long it was, but it was way less than 100. I'm way over 100 hours now in this game, I think. And I'm not done. It just goes on. It just goes on and on and on. And this area, I thought, after all the drudgery we did, there's something new. There's some reason why we have this new area here, and I'm finding out there is not. This area is presented as some big final challenge, and it just seems to be smashing together a bunch of puzzles we've already done with no unique concept and no reason to believe this is an end location. It just exists. I don't know. I just am so disappointed with this kind of game. Okay, those are all sevens. I'm sure there's more sixes left. I just want to make sure I don't do, yeah, I don't leave easier puzzles till last. Well, that's there. Difference in compass. Compass is not my favorite rule, but it makes sense. It's logical. Difference is an amazing rule. So at least this one should be good. Pretty sure this is set. So we know this is going to be 2, this is going to be 3, this is going to be 4, and that's going to be 5. See, like, this is going to be a hard puzzle. It says 6, and yet they give us a move at the beginning. It's okay. Like, as a puzzle designer, you don't have to be insecure about your puzzle design. You can set up a puzzle with an opening move that's obvious and still have a hard puzzle. You don't have to be coy about it. Be like, the challenge is it looks like there's 10,000 opening moves and you have to work out one by one which one is correct. Like, don't do that, man. I'm sure this 2 isn't going to move into here because now we're done. We can't add any more pieces, so we need to. So that's got to be like that. This 1, this can't be part of the 3 because now we need at least 3 more pieces, or at least 4 pieces over here, excuse me, and there's just not enough. So we got to block that off. So the trick now is how to get this piece through here. Can I figure out any more from this spot? Well, this 3 is either going to move this way or that way, but not both. Because if it goes both this way, then we need something that's both 5 and 6 away from 3, which isn't going to happen. So over here, 5 away is an 8, 6 away is a 9. So that's an 8 or a 9. We know we're going to have that going on. Oh dear lord, there's this over here too. So we know that we have a 2, and we also know that we have a 9. So I think we're going to end up with these 2 being the same unit. You know what I mean? These are probably going to both be 9, but I'm not sure. This could be an 8 and not connected, or we could have 2 9s that aren't connected to each other. Not 100% sure yet. I doubt we have 2 9s not connected to each other. We just don't have a lot of space to work. This being a 2. If we moved this up, right, we'd have 3 and then we would have 8. That would be guaranteed. If we took a 9 and moved it over, we'd have 8 or 10, which could bring us down to 3 or 5 here. So we could have the 9 go here, 8 here, 3 here, connect to that 3. That's possible. We also could end up with an even larger piece, but I don't think that's true. This piece has to be at least, I don't know how big it's got to be. Hold on, let me try something out. If I took this piece and moved it over like so, I'd fill out the 4 and the 1 here, and now it's of size 5. 3 and 2 would be like this, and now it's of size 8. This 9 could touch here, and it would be fine. This is an 8, and this is a 9. This is, in fact, the only way to make this piece touch this location right here and be of size 8. Okay, this might be how it's done, but here's the thing is I'm guessing. I just look at this and go, hey, this could be a way to solve the puzzle. Because if I did this here, I could have a 3, I could have a 9 there, and everything would work out really, really well. But I do not, because I haven't been able to logically determine that that's the answer, that is just a guess. And again, the game was so high on its fucking horse about how you don't actually have to guess at any of the puzzles. So, let's make sure we don't have to. We know that. We know these are going to be... So this 4... It's never going to touch that. This has got to be a 3 or a 5. Now, either way, it's got to move out to one side, but it's only going to move to one side. We can't have that. That 4 is not going to be complete. So if the 3 moves this way, the 4 has to at least touch these. I don't think it's going to work. Whatever this is, I'm saying 3 or 5. It doesn't matter yet. All that matters is it's got to block one exit for the 4. Because it's not going to be one of these can't connect. So if it blocks this one, the 4 could move here. That's fine. But it could also move there. It will also move to these 2 spaces, which means I don't think this is going to be correct. I think it's the other way around. So this doesn't, because now this has to be a 1 or a 7. Well, this will work if it's a 1. Right? You make that a 1, you have the 5 come in here, or you have another 1. 5 would make that a 2 or an 8. A 1 would make this a 4. If I went the other way and 4 came this direction, then 4 plus 5 is 9. We would have a 9 here. But the 9 isn't going to come down this way, because then this would be a 7 or an 11, which would come up, and we'd block the 9 in. So the 9 would move this way. The 4 would move over, and that would make a 2, and this would work out really, really well. Again, this works out really well, but again, I've not logically determined this is correct. I've just said, if I did this, it works really well. I need a reason why it's correct, though. So if I could rule this out, this can't be a 5 anymore. If I move this to the right, it has to be a 3, because it can only fill these spaces. So, like, if it was a 5 here, this would be a 10, and it's not going to fit anywhere. So if I moved here, this would be an 8. If I moved here, then I could do this. Actually, this 3 can't move down, because if it moves down, it has to move down again. We can't do this. We've established that. So if it moves down, it's got to move all the way, and now these are both trapped. So this 3 has to move this direction and not that direction, which means 6 away from that is a 9. We are, in fact, set up with 9s here. This means that 5 away has to be 4. So does that tell me which side it goes down? It can still be like that, or it can be like this. 9 can't move down because then we'd have a 7 here or an 11. Again, same problem as before. So it's going to move that way and not this way. This 2 could move up. No. If this 2 moves up, the 9 moves up. What's 5 away from 9? Either 4 or 14, neither of which are 1 away from 2. So the 2 does in fact move here, which does mean this has to be 4. Great. Cool. I logically worked it out. I'm happy. This now... Oh, this is still 3 or 5, actually, so I haven't worked out what that is. But this 4 is complete. This 3 is not. The 9... Is there any world in which... If I move this 9 up, this has to be 4 or 14, which makes this, at the smallest, a 3. It's not going to work. This has to be these 9. This does have to be connected. Great. So this thing that just worked out happens to be correct. So this is 8 or 10, which gives a lot of options here. It gives 3, 5, 13, 15. I think 13 and 15 are a little silly. But that's the thing. It can, I don't know. I don't think it's going to fit with the space it has. So it's probably a 3 or a 5. Again, 3 works out really nicely, and this 8 coming down to there works really nicely. But I need to get it so that I've logically worked out that is correct. Now, if this is a 3 and it moves up, this here has to be a 6, which isn't going to work. If this is a 5 and it moves up, well, if it's a 3 and it goes this way, then this can't be a 1, because then that would be a 4. This would have to be the 5 coming down, which would make this a 2. Right? So if 3 comes this way, 5 moves down, that is 2. If, however, this bends up, it can't be the 3, because that would be a 6. It would have to be the 5, which means this is a 2. So no matter what, we have 2 and 5 here. Now, if I moved the 2 down, this 5 would be like this. That's fine. And we could do this and have a 2 here, or we could move up here and put a 1 there. Either way, it's fine. But if I move the 2 up, I could also do this and have a 1 here. So I don't know what I'm doing there quite yet. I also don't know if this is attached here or not. Actually, if it's not attached there, I don't have enough space. These are attached. And the question is, are they attached to this one or not? If I move this over, then... well, this 5 has to escape, so the 2 is actually forced to go up this way. Which means that I don't have this coming out. Because this way, this piece, right, 4 to the right, 1 below. I need 3 above and 2 to the left. 1, 2, 3 above, but I can't get any more to the left. In fact, how do I get 3 above and 2 to the left? Is there any way to do that now? Because this overloads it. So maybe instead the 5 doesn't escape. It goes here. That is a way I can do it. Yeah, that's how you do it. So this is the 5, and then the 2 comes down here. There's no other way to do it, because if the 5 escapes, the 2 does, and then there's literally no way to end this piece. Which still has not logically worked out that this is what I have. This guess I made early on. That seemed right. I need to find something in this puzzle that forces me to make that choice. So 5, 3 away from that, this is 2 or 8. Which means this is 2 or 8. It's 5 away from that. If it's a 2, that's a 7. If it's an 8, this is a 1 or a... not a 1, that's not 5 away. 3 or a 13. 13 seems a little silly. Can I work out what it is? Well, this piece here, I think just goes straight down. If it doesn't, if I put a wall here, where's it going to get the lower piece? It has to get it from here, but it would have to take both of them. So this piece has to go straight down, which means it is the 7, 3, or 13. Now, if it's a 3, it's really easy. I just do that. I can't do this, because then 2 and 3 are not 5 apart. If it's a 7, then this could be a 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If this is a 13, yeah, there's no fucking way. So, this is 7 or 3. Let's do it this way. 3, 7. So, there. And it won't be this piece. Unless it's a 7. So it has to take that piece. If I put a wall here, I've got to do this, then make it a 7. Because this has to be a 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, we have to take that spot. So if it's a 3, it's this. If it's a 7, it's all of those. Which means this is a 1, or a 5, or a 9. That's not super helpful. 5 away from that. Okay, there's too many numbers of 5 away from that. We can't take that, so we know that much. Actually, let me think about how I'm going to get 2 to the left. 2 to the left's got to be somewhere in here. And it actually has to be these. There's no other way. If I put a wall here, then there's no way I'm going to get without overloading like crazy. So that's got to go there, which means I now need 2 to the left, and those 2 will always be above here, so they have to be these 2. And I have to stop it there, which means I've got to do this. I can never move up. Yeah, this has to go over. Yep, I think I got it now. This has to be there. Okay, there we go. There we go. I'm actually kind of liking this puzzle so far. Just like, see, I'm able to work through. Like, I had some guesses what I thought would work out, but I needed to make sure that I had a logical path to it, and I found it. That's great. I love that. Even though I don't think this difficulty is necessarily wrong, but this puzzle hasn't tried to be difficult by offering 10,000 paths that I have to one by one sift through. That is not fun. Never, ever designed like that. It is totally fine to give me a single, one step at a time path through a puzzle. That is totally fine. You are not a bad puzzle designer if you do that. In fact, you are a good puzzle designer if you do that. 6, 7. We're not going to grab this, I don't think. 8. Yeah. No, actually, I can do this. Well, we have to come through at least here. Oh, we do have to touch this, because if we don't, then this can't get 4 spaces to the right. So 8, we can't take that, it'll overload. Can't take that, it'll overload, so this is the 9. Which means this is a 7 or 11. I'm going to bet it's a 7, because an 11 is just too many pieces. Oh dear, which means the smallest this can be is a 6, right? 7 to 6. 7 to 6. Oh no. If I said this was a 7. Actually, hold on a second. This one's got 4 above. Can I do it like this? Yeah. This is not logical. This is a guess. So I need to find, if the puzzle has it, a logical path to get that. I think it does. So far, this puzzle hasn't disappointed me. But I've done plenty of puzzles where it seems you just have to do something like this. Oh, this seems like this will work, and then go forward from there, rather than really working out what the answer is. But if I didn't do that, if this wasn't attached, if I, say, brought this through and I didn't attach, actually, if I brought this through, this would never work. Because I need 4 above that. This would work. In fact, I don't think I can bring this through, because then this has to be at least a 6, which would force that, forcing that, and now this piece. I would take that one. I would have to have 1 more above. Not sure where it would go yet, but this 4, that'd be the 5th piece. And oh, so I'd only be able to take 1 more piece. It would have to be this one. What's 4 away from 6 is 2. It's certainly not going to be 10. Then this doesn't have enough space. Okay, the end. So we can't bring this out. We have to bring it around this way, which means this has to be at least 6. We don't know if it's larger than 6. It has to be at least 6. It's got to go around. We got 5. Now this has to come here, which means we need 6. Now if we don't take this, then this has no way. Yeah. Yep, there we go. Logic. Logicked. That is a 7. It can't be the 11 because now we just can't add any more because it has to come around and take those pieces. If it goes through this lower path, the top path cuts off any escape. If it goes around the top, it's forced into doing this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This can work. Hold on, I have a different color for 8. There you go. Because if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I can't take both of those. So I have to take this piece, which means this has to be 2, because that's 2. That's 4 away from 6. There we go. So what's 5 away from 6? 1, 5, and 9. Well, the only one that works is 1. There you go. 1. Because if it's 11, 11 is not 2 away from either 3 or 7. So that's a 1, which means this is in fact a 3. We're done with it. Oh, that was just the whole puzzle. Cool. See, that's a great puzzle. I like that. I'm still disappointed that this is the only thing we can get out of this Spiral Island is like, oh, just a high quality puzzle we've already done. Because again, the way the game has been presented, the way the game devs have communicated to me is this is a big special place. It is after the main game. It looks special with the spiral. Something special needs to happen, but nothing special is happening. It's just more game. There's no reason why these puzzles couldn't have been in the main game. And in fact, I would have appreciated some of these puzzles being in the main game in place of some other ones. Not all of them. There's a lot of puzzles here that suck balls, but there's plenty that are still good. So 6 more. I only see 3 things of light. Are they hidden around the back somewhere? Yeah, there's something hidden back here. There. That's a 7 though. Okay, so I've got 4 7s. Which is fine. I've got a 6. Let's take care of those. Oh, fuck. Eyesore puzzle. No! Are they all 2s? I think they're all 2. I think this is the game's way of telling me I have 2 regions. I don't have 2 regions. I just have... So I've got a 10 in here, so make it a big thing. 5, 7, 3, 8, 8, 5... These probably are the same region? I don't know. I'm going to hold off on that. 9. So, this means whatever way I go, right? if I were to move this 2 up, I would have to take all of those. Right? Because if I have a different region, there's now 3 regions here. There's now 3 regions here. So I'd have to take all this. Then these areas would also need here, and we'd have to do that, which is 10. That works. I think we're going to have that no matter which way we go. If I go to the left, I'm going to be doing this. And if we go to the right, we'll be doing this. That is all totally fine. So the question is, what was common every time? I don't think I could ever have a wall here, because then we would have to do that. So that is sure. We can't have a wall here for the same reason. So now if I go this way, there's nothing much in common there. I think there has to be here and there, right? Yeah, these have to be here because the 2 has to move to one of these areas, and then there's got to be another region. It's got to be this. So that's not the most, because it could be going around like this, or it could be from here because it's going sideways. Is there anything else I can figure out from these? This feels like the type of puzzle where if I had done like 100 puzzles that were all about this particular thing of Watchtower, I would just know the shapes and it would be quite a simple puzzle. But because I don't, I got to figure them out, which is fine. But I would love it if it was like the previous puzzle, where I can logically work it rather than we got to do a bunch of guesses. Like, I think these are going to be the same, but I don't know that for sure. How can I make this 3? If I made this 3 a long line, right, then this 8 would have to go, it would have to take all those. And it would also, I'd have to take these, which would mean I'd have to also take these, and I'd also take these are going to overload. So the 3 can't just be a straight line, so it's got to take that spot. Now what else can it take? Like if I took this spot here, I would still need to take all of these, and that, and these. And that works out just fine. So I think that's the trick, is I've got to take this, I've got to do these. I don't think I can do it this way. God damn it. That overloads. So I've got to take all of those at the 8. I guess the trick is, how do you envelop the smaller region in the larger one? I think that is what we have to discover. Actually, I don't think this 2 can move leftward. Excuse me. Because if so, now this 7, see this 10 is complete. So we only want 2 regions around it. So the 7's got to go here. It's also got to go around this corner. Now it has to go here, now it has to go here, now it has to go here. And, like, we overloaded. So I think that is for sure not there. So either it's up or right, which means this is correct. So there's probably going to be a big fat honking region that kind of just covers whatever we don't cover from these. So getting this 5 and the 7 to work, this would work, right? Because now we just do this and we can have a separate region in here. The 7 is not complete yet, though, but that'll work. If I did something like this, I'd have to go here. That would also work. But I think I have to. Like, if I put a wall here and it didn't, if I did, yeah, I'm not gonna do it. If I put a wall there, I don't know, something like this would just rapidly overwhelm the 7. Thing about this type of puzzle design is it's hard to like logically work out every single thing, right? Like you want to make sure you know how it can go. Like even with these 3 and 8 and the 2 and the 10, I had to do a lot of, well, if I did it this way, it would go like that. If I did it this way, it would go like that to get to the logical answer, which is really fucking tedious. And I feel like I don't want to be doing that here. Having this come down here works out really well. The only thing, going this way also works, but then I have to add another piece to the 7, which could be a problem. Whereas if I do it this way, the 7's complete and the 5 is complete. I don't have to add any more pieces. And that feels right. But that it feels right, it isn't right. Like it might be. So now the 2 can't go up because then I got to touch the 7, which now has to go all the way around. So the 2's got to go to the right. This is the 10. So we have some region that's going to do this. Right? See that? That's what we got to do now. Which means that the 3 can't move down, because then we have an issue where we have 3 regions here. So the 3's got to move up, and then we've got another region down here, like so. Oops. No, this doesn't work, because now the 7's. How do I make the 7 work? Because if whatever the 7 is moves down, we've got to go all the way around. So we've got a different region here. I feel like we've got to take these. And now we can't have we have to do this. So how does the 7 work? This is just massively overloading. There's probably some principle I just don't understand here. If I made these separate, it's one thing. Because I need another region here. It's got to come all the way around this. But now this is more than 2. I clearly don't understand something about this. Let's go back. Let's get rid of all this, because this is now an eyesore and I can't see the answer. So if I take this, this has to go around. So if I moved this way, right, we can see this isn't going to work, because now this 7, right, we have to have 2 regions in here. The 10 is complete. Can't add any more to it, so it's got to move up. It's also going to move up here. We only have 2 regions in this area, so we got to move around. It's going to overload. So therefore, the 2 can't go that direction. Because the 10 is going to wrap around it. If the 2 moves up, we have an issue with this 7 now. This 7, right, this 2 regions, we can't do this, so it's got to be here, it's got to be here, it's got to go around, we're going to overload. So, 2's got to move that way. That is there, because this 7 can't move to the right. But now, whatever is around, this can't be 7, because whatever touches this has to touch all of that. So what is this 7 going to be? Does this move up? This can move up, I guess. Maybe I had it right. Maybe I had it right and I just didn't understand something. If I go here and I do this, I can still do this exactly as I had it. And maybe this comes up, and then whatever's here can go this way. And now these both have to be the same unit. This has to be... But then... If I said, hold on, with this 3, like we know we can't do something like this, because the 8 will overload. If I went this way, now I need this to go here, but that can't, we'd have to have a separate region here, and now we have 3, no matter what. So this can't go that way. It really has got to be this, but now... If I moved this up, then I'd have to either move that up or that down. So I gotta have a new region here. But then it has to take these and all of this. This is not gonna work. I've got 3 regions here. This overloads, this overloads. So something's wrong with this one. Is there any other way I can do this? This way? This might. No, this overloads. That overloads. This would work out much better. I mean, it still has 3 regions here, though. The other way doesn't work either. I just need it to not cause a problem here. That just seems to be the only way I can do it. If I put a wall there, I can't do that. Overloads. This would overload as well. Straight line. I can't do something like this. That's majorly overloading. I gotta touch the wall. It has to be here. This would overload. Yeah, it has to be this, but now how do I make something work with this piece? Because, like, the most square thing I can do is like that, but it overloads the 8. Is there any way I can make a square shape? Because I really need them to be square, and I need it to not get into that area. Oh, maybe I can... No, I can't touch this because now I need to touch... We have too many regions. But honestly, if this worked out, it'd be so nice, but it doesn't work out. This doesn't work, it's too many regions. What if it was... No. Yeah, no matter what I do here, it's overloaded. This could also be wrong, I don't know. It's because it feels like every move I've made is a guess rather than logic. It won't be something like this. Because it seems like every region needs to be fully wrapped. So something like this 5 needs to be wrapped up. Like, does it wrap up this way? Like, this wraps it up. See what I mean? So I could have a region that wraps this up, but now I don't have enough in here. Is there another way to wrap this up? This would overload the 8. I think the 5 has to be actually exactly that. This won't work because the 8 will be overloaded, even though that would work there. This would still be the same. It's 9. Can't be something like this, it's massively overloaded. I think this is the move for this piece, which means I gotta figure something out here. And then I gotta wrap up a 5 with this one. Like if I wrap it up here, would that work? That's only 8. If I moved it the other way, I think this is still only 8. And then what would I do with that? That's way more than that. But something like this would overload by a long shot. If I said something like this, that's a 9. But now this is always... No? I mean, but then this doesn't work here because no matter what, we got 3. So, don't think that's going to be it. Is there a logical path through this? Because I'm not taking it. Whatever it is, I'm not taking it. And it's not... That's the thing, is if you want me to follow a logical path, you have to give me a logical path, not 10,000 logical paths and make me find which one's correct. Because that is a guess. That's what guessing means. So I'm guessing. I'm going to finish this puzzle, it will have been a guess. I don't care how brilliant the puzzle is, this is called guessing. Which would be fine. Trial and error puzzles are still puzzles. Those are totally legitimate ways to make games. There is nothing wrong with doing trial and error for puzzles. However, if you set up at the beginning of your game that you don't need to do that, if you say it in plain English, then every time I do end up guessing, either I'm a stupid moron And not in the funny haha way. I'm literally a stupid moron, or you are, as the game dev. Don't set yourself up so that either you are stupid or I am. How about we both play as smart people? Let me do trial and error puzzles. But I'm so fucking mad because I feel like the game is telling me not to play the way I'm playing. Like, bitch, I want to play the game the way I want to play it. Don't you fucking sit there and tell me I'm doing it wrong. Fucking assholes. I'm sorry. I hate these devs. I have gone to hating these devs. Because anytime I'm playing this game and enjoying it, they're still turning around and making me feel like an asshole for doing it. Like, this is overload. I mean, it could be this, and then the 9 is like that. I mean, is there any other way? Like, this feels like the only way we can get that done. But the only way I could get this one done was here. But you see the problem. This is 4 regions. I wish it was this, but it is not. Alas. That also would be a problem here. See, the problem is now this has to touch all of that. There's no way this is it. But this has to be right here. There's no way these aren't it. So whatever region goes here, for instance, we can't add any more blue. So it's gotta go around. And then it's gotta go around here. So whatever this is has to touch all of these regions. It's gotta touch all of those. Which just doesn't make any sense. Unless, yeah, we've gotta wrap it up. So if we wrap it up, is there any way? So like if we had another region here, cover in there. Again, we don't have enough space. Is there any way to give more space at all? If I move this out, this overloads. So I've got to keep this over here. Is there any other arrangement that works? Don't think so. I think this is the only arrangement that works here. Which means I got to have some region like this. If it's this region, now I've got to fill in 17 space with 11. It's not going to be like this. It's overloading. If this region is not attached to that one, then this would happen. And now we have 12 spaces to fill. And we have 3 regions here. Let's look at this again. I just need a separate... There's no way to do this, because then whatever's on the other side of this region here, it's got to take all of it, and then it's got to take that. I just don't see it. That's the problem, is I literally just don't see it, and I feel like the only way to see it is to guess until you get it. That's how I feel, and I will say this every time. How your players feel is always correct. It does not matter how much of a big boy you are with your big boy pants on in the morning. If your players don't feel there's a logical way to solve the puzzle, your puzzle doesn't have a logical solution. It doesn't matter if 2 weeks later I look back at this puzzle and go, oh, that was how I was supposed to do it. Because in the moment, I can't see that. Doesn't matter. It just doesn't. I have to go... This is the only way I can think of that will give me space, but now this will always have a problem. If I do it... I can't do it something like this, because now it overloads. So this is the only way I can think of that it'll work, which gives me a new region here, because it can't be the red one, which now gives me 3 regions here. These are always going to be because these can't, neither the 5 or 8 can be part of this region, so there's going to be 3 of them there. So this must be wrong, but I can't work out logically why this is not wrong, right? Or why this is wrong. This must be the answer I have. If I did the thing where I said, well, instead of the 5 going like this, it's something like that, and then we get one of these, then we can add another piece and then do something like this. I don't see how this helps at all. But we have to add another one here somewhere, for instance. And so if I still do this move here, I could do it this way. This would work. But now, would this work? See, like, this here wasn't me logically working it out. It was going, well, I tried one guess and it didn't work. Let me try my other guess. That is called guessing. I don't know why nobody seems to understand this but me. I know other people understand it. It just feels like I'm the only one because it's just me and the dev. Those are the only opinions I can see. My opinion and what the dev told me. Which, by the way, if you're a dev, never tell your opinions. Just make your fucking game. But, like, all I see is this type of thing. And the dev is going, well, you can solve them all without guessing. It's like, no, because I just solved this with guessing. I don't know, I'm just fucking mad at these fucking idiots. So now this doesn't work because this won't fill in properly. So there has to be another way to do this. In fact, if this 8 goes here, it has to go all the way. Doesn't it? So there must be some other thing here. Yeah, this can't work. Unless I do something else to surround it, right? Like, this will go around here unless I add a red. Like, I can do this sort of thing. Like, if I go around this way, well, if I do this, I gotta go all the way around, right? If I go here, will this help? No. That would help this part, but that's all it would help. This would not be good, because again, I have to do that. Can't do this kind of thing as 3 regions. So it feels, again, it feels like this is the way, but this will make it a region of 9. No way out of that. This seems like the only way to make these regions. So what if it was... But then what would it... There's no way for this to work. There's no... Yeah, there's no way to do it this way. There's no... This will always cause a problem here. What if I bring this all the way up? Then I will always have, if I bring this up here, I would need to bring this into there. Excuse me. Which is going to cause a problem here. If I brought this up, I would have to do it like this. I could if I had the red come around. So no, it's not going to work. I'd still have to do something like this. Is there any way... Like, if I don't put red here, that means I gotta do this, which is really going to be a problem. I've got the 8 has to surround the 5. That much we know. And it seems like this is the only way to do it. Again, unless there's a guess. I have to guess another way to make this 5 work. To be surrounded. It's not going to be like this, because now we're going to massively overload the 8. This won't be it. because now I'm gonna really overload. Man, what is it with me starting with good puzzles and then ending with bad ones? This is a bad puzzle. I will say it outright, bad puzzle. It requires guessing to solve. That's what it requires. And if I see any fucking comments saying, no, actually it doesn't, at 10 minutes, 37 seconds, you could have solved it this way. Doesn't matter. I don't see it. I don't see it. All I see is this. What is the logic I'm supposed to use? And if you can show me exactly where that logic was taught in a different puzzle. The answer is nowhere. This is bad design. Unless the game didn't tell me guessing was illegal, right? It doesn't say it's illegal. But early on in the game, it said outright, you don't have to guess on any puzzle. If they hadn't said that, then it wouldn't be a big deal for me to solve the puzzle this way. Because this is how you're supposed to solve it. It would be fine. But the game went out of its way to tell me I don't need to do that. Unfortunately, I don't see the way to do it any other way. And I'm not going to sit here for 6 hours to figure out what fucking drug the game dev was on where they knew how to solve this puzzle. I'm not going to do that shit. So this has to be, if I move it up, then that's 3 regions here. So it can't do that. So if I move this over, it has to be, in fact, if I block this off, it'll never be worked out. Because what over here, it's got to be either the purple region makes 3, it's got to be the red makes 3. So that's got to move over. And if this moves down, I just, what do I do here? That's not going to work. So I think I have to do it this way. I need this the most. This way is really nice, but it's too many for the 8. It doesn't fit. Works for something like this. No, it doesn't work there. But like it doesn't work here because I need only 8. Is there any way to make this? So we'd have to have that. We'd have to have another piece here, but there's no way to do that other piece. There's no way to put this piece like that. This would be nice as well, but again, it overloads the 8. Is there any way to make this 5 smaller somehow? This way? This way would do it. It only has 7. So now I can have a new region down here, right? But now this 8's got to have a piece that extends somewhere. This could go here, right? But again, guessing. It's guess land. It's guessing all day long. How about this one? This way leaves me with extra pieces. I feel like I don't want to have the 9 come through there. I feel like the 7 now is pretty restricted. If I did something like this, right? Because I got to fill in this spot. There's got to be somebody in there. It can't be a new region. So it's got to be that. But now I can't fill that there. So it's got to be this one. But now I've got to have, yeah. So it's got to be these. This will be a problem. So that's got to move over. So if I did something like this, then I would really be in trouble here, right? No, this would be okay. No, it won't, because now I can't fill in. It's overloading the 9. So maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's like that. This is, no, there's 3 regions there. Red can't ever be there. It's got to be, like if I bring that around. This works. We can have another region there, but now how do I fill this in? So I've got to do this. Oh, hold on. And now I need one more. Is it that? No, it doesn't work. Is it this? That's overloading. So where else can I stick the 9? There? That's wrong. That's wrong. It would have to go around this way. We'd have to do this. I'd have to put that there, but now I'm out of space. But I think I'm on the right track here. Is there another way I can do these? If I did, this won't work because it forces red there, so that can't be there. So red's got to be there. If I did this, we'd have to overload, so it has to be here. Yeah, it's got to be this. We can't bring this down because now we'll have a bunch of stuff. We can't bring this over because now we'll have a bunch here. So if I bring this over, we're going to overload the 9. So it's got to be that. But now the 8 is done. This 9 is also done. I have nowhere to stick a thing. If I can somehow do it, oops, like this. Right? But how do I make this 9 a little better? This puzzle's absolutely aggravating to do. Just, the game is 1,200 puzzles. You need to start cutting shit like this. You need to start cutting the shit that feels like this. It's not clever enough to put in. We've seen this kind of stuff before. It's just a slog. Now, if I do something like this, I think I still overload. So I think I gotta bring it to the edge, but there's no other way to get it to the edge. I can't bring this down because now I have multiple bits here. Yeah, it's gotta be that. But now there's no solution here. That would be a great solution, but it isn't it. Somehow bringing this 9 into that spot would be wonderful, but it's not it. There's something over here I'm not doing right. Is there another way to do this 5? It won't be like that. This kind of thing would work, but now the 7 has no way of being filled. Right? Like, this works out really nice, but now the 7 is not complete. This doesn't, because the 9's overloaded, and then the 7 is nowhere to go. This doesn't. 9 has to surround 5. This doesn't work, it's overloading, that's 10. It seems like this is the only way. It's underloaded, like I can't take these. If I do this here, that's the end of that, and then we're screwed there. So I've got to bring that around, and here. So this 7 seems like the only thing. So we can't bring that down, because then we have a problem with that. So what can I do? If I bring that there, these are the reds, and then there's nothing. If I bring it here, then we definitely have a problem. So it can't be that. If it's this one, it's still wrong. This would be great. Can I in any way change this? Can I do it like this, and then bring this up, then change this? That's it. See what that is? That is just awful. That's just awful. I'm looking back, I'm trying to think, was there a logical way to solve that? I think that was the most logical way to solve that puzzle. I don't think there was any way to do it aside from trying all the different possible shapes you can do. I just don't see how it could be done any other way. And like, that's fine, but not if you tell me I don't have to guess, because I consider that to be guessing. I consider that to be a full guess all the way through the puzzle. And if that's what you want your game to be, that's great. You can make those. There's plenty of really, really popular and well-designed puzzle games that are about guessing. Here, I'm going to give you a recommendation right now. If you've ever heard of the game Understand. Understand is a game that was made inspired by The Witness, because every puzzle game now is inspired by The Witness. But the whole point of Understand is that you're given a grid and you're not told the rules and you have to work it out. Trial and error is the only way to solve those puzzles. Now, you're going to use logic in the sense that you'll figure out which guesses are leading you somewhere and which ones are leading you away from a solution, but that's a trial and error puzzle, which is pretty good. I played through it. I don't know if I'll ever make it on this channel. It would definitely wouldn't be a blind playthrough. Um, and I had some gripes with it, but they're pretty minimal compared to what the game was. Like, it was a good, solid puzzle game with a really great idea that really explored the whole trial and error, figure out what the rules to the puzzle game are, and then solve it, right? Great stuff. Um, it's fine. That's a fine thing to do. I'm not mad if I have to guess. I am mad if you tell me I don't have to guess. And if I see a bunch of fucking losers who complain every time someone bashes this game. Like, I don't see a lot of that, but I have seen it. If someone says, I have a problem with this game, the puzzles require you to guess. And then there's always some fucking asshole showing up in that person's comments like, actually, pushing up their glasses, you don't actually have to guess on any of the puzzles. This is this logical solution. And if you were less, impatient and, less, complainy, and you just were more logical, you would, find this. It doesn't fucking matter. If someone feels they have to guess, they have to guess. And if the game tells you outright that you don't have to do that, now it's the game's problem. It wouldn't be the game's problem if the devs hadn't said it. Just like the difficulty issues wouldn't be a problem if the devs weren't telling me how to feel about every single puzzle I was doing. All of this is avoidable. All of these problems are avoidable with very simple fixes. Don't tell me how to feel. So I'm angry because I had to solve this puzzle in a way that I was told not to solve it. So now I feel like a bad girl who needs to be punished. Actually, that'd be kind of fun. So no, I don't feel like that. God damn it. It's just the game, these devs cannot help but shoot themselves in the foot every time. So I know I've got a 7 over here. I've got a 3 more 7s here. So where is the last puzzle? There's 5 left. I only see 4 pillars of light. It's very faint. Is there one here? There's one here. What is this? Those are 4s. Oh, right here. It's this obvious one. Here's a 6. This video is too fucking long. You know what? I'm going to do this one here. You deserve to be tortured with this shit. I've got 3 regions in this one. It's another eyesore puzzle. I'm over this. I'm over the watchtower on every single fucking thing. I'm so fucking over it. It was clever once. One time this was clever. Figure out a new puzzle design. You got 1,200 of this shit. You clearly ran out of ideas. Trim this down. There's one puzzle that's completely full of Watchtower 2s. That's it. My God, I'm so... Give these devs a fucking slap. Wake up. Learn to design a game and not a puzzle. You're good at designing puzzles. You're not good at designing games, and you refuse to learn how to design games. I'm so fucking mad. All right. So this area is going to be important. I just know it because it's the only area that doesn't have the 2 watchtower. The reason that is, the devs couldn't figure out a way to make a solution that involved all of them having 2s. So this is here to tell us we need to put 3 regions in. Or 4, but 3, because there's 3 here. So... This is another one where it's like, we're not going to give you the opening move. You just got to sort of see the whole puzzle in advance. Alright. Is there any reason why I wouldn't just do that? And this. And this. Is there any reason why I shouldn't do these things? If I do it this way, which is, by the way, guessing, but like, what else am I supposed to do? I don't see an opening move, right? The first puzzle I did today, I saw an opening move. And it's fine. It was still a hard puzzle. It made me think really hard. There's nothing wrong with that. This is the type of puzzle where the dev is like, there's one unique solution, but you just gotta guess it because there's no moves. There's just one big thing you gotta figure out. So if I did this, I don't see any reason why I wouldn't do this. Then I have to make this move. Then there's got to be a different color here. I can't make that move, so I've got to do this. And then here... Probably that move. If I did this one, I would need a blue cell here, but that's probably fine. I could put red here or blue. I don't see... This is probably yellow, but if it's red... Like... How would it be red? If this was red, I would need red on all of these. Yeah, so it's yellow, which means that it's... If I put blue here now, there would be... This would not work. Well... That works. But not in here. So I'm pretty sure it's just going to be that. I want to change the yellow color. I like this pale yellow. I don't want that kidney shutting down piss yellow. This gotta be blue. It's gotta be blue. Which means this has to be red. It means we have to have blue and red here, so it's gotta be there. It's gotta be a color in here. It could just be blue. So what is with this? Maybe it could just all be blue? It can't all be blue, can it? Yeah. Oh no, not there. This can all be one region, but not all of that. So I'd have to do that. So no, this is just not right. But I don't know why it's not right, because again, I just feel like I have to do this. I feel like I just have to make these moves because there isn't a spot to go. That's where you start the puzzle. That's where you should look. It's just all of it at once. You have to see the whole solution at one time and figure it out. That is the way this puzzle is designed. And if you disagree with that, you don't know puzzles. You just don't know them. That is just how it's been designed. If I put this here, again, if I do this, then I have to do that. If I have to do this, then I do. If I do this, then I do that. That is how this puzzle is made to be solved. If I do this, then I have this. If I do that, then I do that. That is called guessing. I don't know why that's not understood by people in this world, but that is what guessing is. So over here's got to be something that isn't red. Because of the way I started, maybe this isn't how the puzzle's supposed to start, but I don't know. I have no way of knowing that. Then this is either blue or yellow. If this is yellow, then I've got to bring it out, and then this has to be red, because it can't be yellow, and there's only two regions here. Which means if this is red, that's fine, but yellow's got to get out somehow, and if I bring red over here, then we're screwed. So it would have to come down this way, which means this also has to be yellow. But now, here's got to both be red. Great. Cool, let's bring the yellow down. This has to be yellow, and then we have an issue here, because now we've got three regions, no matter what we do. There's no way. This would have to be blue. And we have the same issue as before. We have to take all of these. This has to be red. Blue could come this way, I suppose. Instead of through here. Like if I brought blue this way, I could bring it in like this. And now this would have to be all red. This would have to be red. But then this would have to be, we're having a problem with that. We can't do that. So this doesn't work. So if I start the puzzle this way, what goes, if it's blue, can I do anything else with blue? Blue has to come this way. Now this can't be red. Oops, this can't be red. It can't be yellow because it'd be three regions here, so it would be blue. Now these two can be blue or red, or something like that. No. If red goes here, blue's got to cut through. The red would be there. Which means red is here. Blue comes down. Like, I can make all of these blue. I can do it this way. But now red... That's not going to work. That's not going to work. Now we're screwed here, unless, yeah, there's nothing I can do here. There's always going to be a problem. So maybe the start of the puzzle was wrong, but how would I know? How would I know that? Not how would I guess it, not how would I do, where is the part I look at and go, this must be the answer? Like, it looks so much like this the only thing you gotta do, because if I don't make this opening move, if this doesn't touch that square, for instance, what square does it touch, right? If I do something like this, then this guy is always going to block the triangles in. I can't do that. If it's this one here, I won't have a square for that to reach. It's got to be this move, and that move. That has to be it. And now we can't have that. That's got to be a different color. And it can't be red because we have three regions here. So we have to have yellow do this. Same issue here. This can't be yellow because we have three regions. Can't be red, so it must be blue. So again, this is the opening move. But it feels like I guessed the opening move. It does not feel like I've logically determined that. It just feels like you just have to start that way. So I'm just so fucking frustrated with this game. And I know the frustration is making me angrier than I should be. I know that. I know that I would get less angry if I just faced this puzzle in any other video game. But it's the compounding problems of the game that lead me to have less and less patience with the devs. Like, if I liked the game more and had more patience with it, I will let the devs get away with some mediocre puzzles from time to time, but I am so impatient now because of how much this game devs have fucked me over that the slightest problem in this game, it makes it unplayable as far as I'm concerned. The slightest problem, I'm willing to give it a 0. That's how much I have lost any trust and faith in these people. I will never buy another game by them. I will never recommend. When I first got this game, I was telling everyone I knew I bought this new puzzle game by these devs I was excited about. You should try the game. I have stopped recommending the game, and in fact, when I talk about this game to people, I tell them this is a game you shouldn't buy. That is what I do now. I tell people I'm playing this game because I'm a sunk cost fallacy loser who has nothing better to do with their life than play a game they dislike for 2 fans on YouTube. That's what I'm telling myself. But I tell everyone I know about this game, if I talk about this game at all. If I tell people about this game, I tell everyone I know, do not buy it. It is a waste of your time. The devs don't respect your time. They don't respect your intelligence. The game is way too long. It has this, that, and the other. That is not a position you want to be in as a developer. It's one thing if someone dislikes your game and doesn't play it. There's plenty of games I dislike and don't play, but I don't turn around and tell other people not to play them too. But this one I'm turning around and telling you, don't fucking play this game. If you want to buy it and support the devs, that's very nice of you, but do not fucking play this game. It is not worth your time. Watch me, this fucking asshole, play it and yell and scream and bitch and moan about it. But don't do it yourself. It is not worth it. The puzzle design is not good enough to make up for the fact that the game is developed by assholes. Don't do it. Okay, so if this is yellow, this has to be not red. So if it's yellow, we have to bring it out, which means this can't be yellow. This can't be blue, or it would be 3 regions. So this has to be red. Great, we're doing God's work here. Now this here can't be blue, or we'd have 3 regions. It can't be red, or we'd have 1 region, so it has to also be yellow. Great. Now, how do I solve this area? I can't put yellow here. I can't put blue here, that's 3 regions. Red has to go there, which means yellow has to escape through this area. Which means red has to be here. Great, this can't be blue because it'd be 3 regions. Can't be red, it's on the other side of that. This is yellow. To prevent 3 regions, we have to do this. Now we have a problem here. What color goes there? This can't be blue. If it's red, red's got to escape, and it's on the other side of 2 walls, and of course yellow doesn't work. Therefore, yellow doesn't go here. This has to be blue. And again, red's got to go on this side of it, because it's got to be 2 regions. We go here. Now, this is less concerning about this particular thing, because this is all 1 region. I can be fine with that. What goes here? If we assume that this is red, we got to bring it out. And now we can't put yellow there, there's 3 regions. We have to put blue there, which means red has to go here. And now how does blue get in without cutting red off? That's fine. Blue would have to cut through here. It'd be like this. Red would have to... Can red go? No, it can't. Red's got to get up through here. That'd be yellow. Red's got to go here. Red's got to go here. Do I have it? Do I have it now? This might be it. That doesn't feel right. That's not right. This can't be right. Hold on. No. I don't know. I can't go back to a thing. So let's go back to what I started with. I don't know how far back to take it. So this is how far back we go. So there and there, these are guaranteed. So if I did that, if I said this is red, then we'd come out, this is always a problem. This has to be blue, because red is 3, yellow is 3. This would always be blue. Red has come out again. Can't be here. This has to be blue. This has to be blue, which means this has to be red. This can't be blue. This can't be yellow. There's 3 regions. Can't be blue, because then we have an issue of checkerboarding, so we have to do that. Red's got to come out. So now this can't be yellow. It's 3 regions. It can't be red, because then one goes there. So this is blue. This is blue. This has to be yellow. Yeah, this can't be red because 3 regions. It has to be yellow, but now there's 3 regions here. So that can't be red in that spot. That's what I'm trying to determine, my friends. Yellow goes here. Fucking hell, this is so fucking annoying. Yellow goes here. If that's the case, then this still has to be blue. That's still got to be red, which means this has to be red and blue. Which means this can't be yellow. because it would come down, be a problem, right? This can't be yellow, it would come down, be a problem. So we do have to have blue all up in this zone. But then this will be interesting. If I put red here, I could bring this around, right? No, I can't. I gotta have red there. So yellow can't go to there. Red's gotta go here. Blue goes here, we have a problem. Yeah, we're gonna have a problem if blue goes there. So red's gotta go there, which means yellow goes here. Red can go there. But then that's always gonna be a problem. I can do this. See, there you go. See, that's a guess. I guessed my way to the end. The reason is I had to, I had to start with a guess and make logical inferences from that guess. That is fine. That is a way to solve puzzles. I started with something that I wasn't sure of. I went forward with it going, is this right? No, it isn't. Let's go back. Try a different path. But that is still guessing. That is still trial and error. That was the only way to solve this, is what if I did this piece? Does that work? No, let's go back. What if I did this piece? Does that work? I've said it now 47 billion times. I repeat myself over and over. It's fine, only if the devs don't say up front, I don't have to do that. Because I did have to do that. I did have to guess. That's what happened. And if anyone says I didn't have to guess, I could have done it a different way, well then invent your fucking time machine and go back in time and have me solve it then. There is no way to do it. I always will have guessed on this puzzle. That is how it will go forward. That's how time works. For the future of the universe, this will always have been a puzzle I guessed to solve. That's how it goes. So either that's how the puzzles are meant to be solved, which would make the game fine, or somebody is a stupid idiot. Let's not go around believing that people are stupid idiots, right? Let's go around believing everyone's trying their best. And that's how the game is supposed to go. In which case, if you're a dev who knows what they're doing, you don't turn and face your player and say, actually, you don't have to do that. It's like if I was playing a shooter and you gave me this big gun, I might have used this analogy before, but fuck you, I'm going to say it again. If you give me this big gun that completely clears the room, if I fire it, everyone in the room dies. I don't know, who cares if it's balanced or what? And you say up front, you don't actually have to use this gun to complete the game. You can complete the game without using the big giant gun that kills everybody. Well, now you've put me in a position where if I use the gun, I'm the asshole because I did the thing I didn't have to do. I must be a loser because I can't beat the game without using the big gun that kills everybody, right? That's the position this game puts me in when it says you don't have to guess. Because then if I do guess to solve a puzzle, it must be because I'm stupid and I can't find the logic to solve the puzzle. But if you don't say that, if you just do it, and then I guess some puzzles, and then I find later some asshole on the internet like, well, I didn't have to guess to solve any of the puzzles. I use logic to solve all the puzzles. That's great. I would go like, wow, that person's smarter than me. They figured it out, but I figured it out too. And I'm also smart. Look at me, A+ student. But I can't feel that way now. All I can feel is that I am the loser who didn't solve the puzzles right because they're not big-brained enough to see the solution, right? That's the position I'm in. Or, alternatively, the position I'm in is the devs are so fucking stupid, they don't know the game they made. They thought they made a game with no guessing, but there is guessing involved. So either the guessing is right and the games are idiots, or the guessing is wrong and I'm an idiot. Let's not play games where people are idiots. Let's not play games made by idiots. Let's not play games that make us feel like idiots. Can we go forward with that in mind? Can we believe that? No, we probably can't. We're probably going to do that. People keep buying games made by EA, so I guess we're all just idiots. Cool. Have you all felt like sufficiently chastised yet? Does everyone feel bad? I hope you all feel bad. Chastised like your mom is yelling at you. I hope that's how we all feel. And I'm going to go do something else now, so goodbye.